Welcome to Experts Unleashed, a podcast that aims to uncover how professionals and entrepreneurs transform their experience into income while making a positive impact in the world. I'm your host, Joel Irway, and over the past 4 years, I've helped entrepreneurs develop and launch their expert-based businesses to grow past 6 and 7 figures per year. Now, a professional expert serves their community through paid training, education, or service, and this podcast will show you how to design and execute your plan to become a 6 or 7 figure expert without a big team. So, let's get started. Hey there, expert. It's Joel Irway here, and welcome to another episode of Experts Unleashed. Today, you guys are in for such a special treat. I just got off my interview with Hall of Fame personal trainer AJ Mihrzad. Now, when I invited AJ to be a guest on my show on Experts Unleashed, I've been following AJ for a while, and we are connected to some other mutual connections. We've never met personally, but I've been following his stuff, and there was something so unique about how he interacts with people on social media, and his energy is just so contagious. And I knew a little bit about his backstory, and I know how successful he is. And so I invited him on the show because I wanted him to really share his journey and share his story about how he developed into literally a Hall of Fame personal trainer. He's been inducted into the Personal Trainer Hall of Fame. So he has incredible success. And of course, as you know, my whole goal here with Experts Unleashed is to uncover and have people explain their journey of how they are able to spot opportunities to be able to monetize their expertise, because most of the time we never really know what we're going to be able to monetize. So you are going to love this episode. We dove into his background and his story. AJ came from, he literally died about 10 or 11 years ago, was pronounced dead, went into a coma for over a week. And so I'm not going to ruin that for you, but I wanted him to hop on and I wanted to ask him how he was able to take the leap from lying in a hospital bed dead to becoming inducted into the Personal Trainer Hall of Fame. So without further ado, let's get into today's episode. AJ, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, Joel, thanks for having me, my man. This is an honor to be on here. So I appreciate this.
Yeah, man, I'm super pumped. My audience loves hearing the opportunity journeys and the story of how the super successful got to where they are. And so for those who haven't heard of you before, quickly just brag about yourself. Give a 30 to 60 second intro of what you do, what's your business, and who do you serve as an expert?
Yeah, absolutely, Joel. So I got started in entrepreneurship back in 2007. So I recently celebrated my 10 years of being a business owner. And, I started off as a personal trainer, and that was a life-changing career because I transformed myself through the world of fitness. And I was just so inspired to help other people do that. So I was a personal trainer for about a decade. And then I transitioned into online coaching. And then that transitioned into my current company, which is Online Supercoach, helping personal trainers and coaches scale their online businesses. So the fitness industry has given me a lot, most importantly, obviously the ability to transform my life and serve others at the highest level. And last year I was actually inducted into the Personal Trainer Hall of Fame for being a trendsetter, bringing online coaching to the industry. And I'm just super grateful. I've been able to accomplish a lot of my dreams, help a lot of people. And I have a concept that we all have an amazing superpower, right? We tap into superpower, everything just flows and falls into place. We're at our highest creativity, energy, and focus when we're living in our superpower. So the greatest thing that I'm doing right now is living my superpower, being interviewed by you and just sharing all my passions.
So I've been following you for a while now. You're very active on social media. You share a lot of live videos and you're very open and transparent. And I remember I reached out to you a few months ago because you had taken this leap. It seems like you're always pushing the boundaries, right? And so I remember I reached out to you when you were doing stand-up comedy. And
Yes.
And you had done your first stand-up comedy routine. I watched it. I laughed my ass off. I was like,
Thank
that
you.
takes balls. It takes guts. My sister is an improv artist, and so I can appreciate it. But anyway, so I've always felt a bond to what you're doing, and I know it's not easy to get up there and do stand-up. So anyway, I just wanted to share that tidbit.
Thank you. Yeah, because my whole thing is that I always want to improve my communication. Most people don't know this, but I literally stuttered for the first 20 years of my life. I'm very shy and introverted, and people will see me on Facebook, on videos, on live. Oh, this guy's like so animated, but in person, I'm very low key. So every year I challenge myself to a communication challenge where I go out there and I step out of my comfort zone and do something that scares me. And I've always wanted to do stand-up comedy because I truly feel that's one of the hardest things a person could do, to get up there, be vulnerable, and tell jokes, right? Because public speaking, that used to be a big fear of mine. And I realized with public speaking, when you go up there, people laugh and they'll clap. You know, even if you suck, you'll get validation. With stand-up comedy, if you suck, you really feel the negative effects. You know, people heckle you, they boo you, they throw stuff at you. So you have a lot of fear going up there because you have to perform really well. And once I did stand-up, my whole life changed, you know, because I prepared for a whole year and I was practicing my set. And once I got up on stage, it was like this amazing moment of flow. But one thing that I realized, that in preparing for the stand-up comedy, I not only accomplished my lifelong dream, however, I improved my range of communication, where I feel like I'm a lot more humorous now. I don't take life so seriously. And I've turned my lens of humor on, where I can look at everyday occurrences and find the funny aspects of it. So I feel sometimes when you're stepping out of your comfort zone, you gain a new superpower in the process.
Mm-hmm. It's 100% true, man. It's like it's one of the irrefutable laws of I don't want to say being an expert, but like pushing the comfort zone and just making sure, because eventually you're going to use that skill for something else, and it just creates other opportunities and opens new doors. And so anyway, I love it, man. I appreciate you for being transparent, just literally broadcasting live new things that you're doing. So I want to take a step back though, because like my audience is really interested in the journey. A lot of my listeners are, you know, just starting out as entrepreneurs, or they're just kind of getting their feet wet and they're trying to find, okay, what's the thing that I'm out there that I'm meant to serve as an expert, as a leader, right? So take me back to 2007 and the starting journey. I want to learn, like, how did you discover the opportunity of the personal training space and then the online personal training space? I mean, before you were even close to becoming this Hall of Fame inductee, right? Take me back to 2007, 2008, when it kind of all started.
Yeah, absolutely. So what actually got me into entrepreneurship was a very tragic experience. And I'm not going to get into the whole backstory because that's a whole podcast within itself, but I had a really scary near-death experience where I just ingested this supplement, and it was a pure accident, freak accident. And that ended up taking me to the ER. My heart stopped. I was pronounced dead and I was resuscitated. But in doing so, I was put in a coma for about a week. And at that point in time, I was like, my whole life was in front of me. And I just realized, damn, I could have died that day. You know, if I would have died, what would I have done? You know, born this day, dead this day. I had no legacy. So I said, I vow now to do something with my life, to actually leave a legacy, create a change, and help others. In getting out of the hospital, I started to just work on myself. You know, I was working a 9-to-5 job, and I was self-educating myself in the process. And that 1 year, I read 20 books. In 1 year's time, I started a journal. I started to go to seminars and really start to improve myself. And in doing so, I saw this world of entrepreneurship. You know, previous to that, I thought, you know, owning a business was risky and to be so smart and so talented. But I realized, hey, maybe I could do this. So I set a goal for myself, getting out of the whole near-death tragic experience, that in the next 3 months, I'm going to take a risk and start a business. And if this business does well, I'm going to stick to it. If it fails, I'm going to go back to my 9-to-5 job. Mm-hmm. And that was the turning point of my life. You know, back in 2007, once I validated that business to actually work, I just stuck with it, and I've been doing it since.
So you mentioned you read 20 books in a year after that experience, right? And I asked you in our pre-interview, what was the one book that you can remember? Like, you probably remember all of them, but like the one book that stood out that was like, wow, like this is what's causing me to explore this other world. What was that book?
Absolutely. So the book that stands out, and till this day has changed my financial philosophy, is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. You know, I was so uneducated about how finances work. And the moment I read that book, I just understood it in a far deeper way. And the greatest concept in that book is understanding the difference between an asset and a liability. I realized I had a lot of liabilities in my life. In order for me to be wealthy and successful, I had to start building assets, you know, building a business, investments, real estate, stocks, mutual funds. So once I started to really implement the strategies from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, my whole life changed.
Okay, so the assets versus liabilities, that's awesome, right? So you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, huge light bulb moment goes off. right? And so
Yes.
I don't know if you sit up in bed or however that light bulb moment happens, but like you make a commitment. You're like, okay, great. I'm going to try this, right? And you said you're going to try and start a business on the side because you're still working the 9 to 5, right? So how did you come up with the idea? What was that first idea? Let's start there.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the time when I had my 9 to 5 job, I was actually a teacher. I taught health and phys ed, and I was in there for 3 years. It was at a point where if I did another year, I was already tenured and I'd be locked into the system. And when you're tenured, you can literally slap a kid across the face and they won't fire you.
Yep.
You know, you're like untouchable. So a lot of teachers, once they get tenured, they just like sit back and relax and for 20, 30 years, stay in that system until they retire. You know, so I had to make a big decision. Do I want to stay within my 10-year or resign from teaching? And it was a scary thing because I was giving up this set income, the ability to have benefits, so on and so forth, you know?
It was the ultimate asset, really, the ultimate security blanket. And you're
security blanket, yes. But as we know, nothing grows in the comfort zone. Mm-hmm. And from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it was mentioning how you could build such wealth by putting on the hat of a business owner and an investor, you know? But as an employee, you're severely limited. And there was a great book by Brian Tracy called Maximum Achievement that I read at the time. And he was saying that being a 9 to 5 employee is like being stuck in traffic. You know, you kind of just have to go at the pace of everyone else and you really don't have a lot of control. Whereas being a business owner, you're on this ultimate freeway. You go as fast as you want, you go as slow as you want, be at full control. And that whole insight gave me a huge light bulb. I'm like, man, I want to take the risk and get on the freeway so I could start earning money at a far faster rate. And at the same time, have control of my destiny, you know? And then that's where I said, whatever it takes at this point, I'm going to make this business work. I'm going to keep on pushing it. And what came to me very easily was fitness because I was doing personal training part-time. I was working at different corporate clubs and I decided, you know, I'm going to go full-fledged, rent some space in a gym and develop a personal training business. So I was very overweight growing up. I'm my heaviest, 60 pounds, chipmunk cheeks, man boobs. I had it all. And once I lost that weight, my whole life changed. I was like, holy shit, you know, I could actually change my body composition and have full control over my health. And once I felt the confidence and the energy and just the happiness, I just wanted to give that gift to other people. So I said, if I have a fitness business, it's something that I'm very familiar with. I have a lot of experience transforming my own body. And at the same time, I can start giving it to others. And the greatest thing about having an expert business, coaching, training is it's so fulfilling. You know, you can make great money, but at the same time, you're serving others. So I saw, you know, if I could serve others, make good money, and just pay my bills, then I'm good to go.
Was that your first idea? Like, we're like, you know, the only idea in your mind was to do a fitness business? Like, or did you have were there other opportunities out there when you first started?
Yeah, that's a great question. So at the time when I was reading a lot of these books about entrepreneurship and growing a business, I was looking at also like making supplements and developing ebooks and all that good stuff. You know, back in 2007, it was also a lot easier to make money off an ebook and actually pay your bills with it. Supplements as well. It was not as populated as it is now. I thought it'd be a lot easier, but you know, the supplement business didn't work that well. Of course, selling ebooks at the time didn't work that well either. I actually struggled with an online business initially. I was like so naive. I was like, if you just build a website, you can have droves and droves of people going to that website, buying your supplements, buying your books. Those things failed horribly. I lost money on those, but the personal training business, that kept on growing, you know, because I could actually tangibly put the work in and show up and deliver, where those other businesses, you know, I didn't have the marketing acumen or understand how to drive traffic to a website, how to convert it, so on and so forth.
So take me back to your first client, your first personal training client. Like you're hustling on the side and you set a goal for yourself, right? Like you said, okay, great. I'm going to try this personal training business. I'm going to give this a shot while you still had your security blanket. You're still working the 9 to 5, right?
Yeah.
Like, how did you get your first client? Like, let's start there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually got it from my own gym, you know, because when I joined the gym, I was very heavy, you know, I was very overweight. And it was like, I went beast mode in that first year. I had this big goal. I just want to get a 6-pack. You know, I never had a 6-pack my whole life. I was 60 pounds overweight. So when I was first working out, first joining that gym, I don't know what the hell I was doing. I was eating like lettuce and turkey breast and doing like 2 hours of cardio a day, just killing myself, you know? But the weight started coming off. And what ended up happening was I became this term in the fitness industry that's known as being skinny fat. But you're skinny, but you don't have a lot of muscle tone. Nonetheless, a lot of the gym members were in shock, because many of them have been working out for 5-10 years and they still cannot lose the weight. So there was a guy there named Joe who basically just kind of witnessed my transformation. He was like, man, I just saw you over the past year. You lost so much weight. You look great. Can you coach me? And I'm like, whoa, yeah, I would love to do that, And I remember that first client, Joe, man, I was just so passionate with him. I gave him my cell phone number. I was like, call me anytime, text me anytime. I just served him like my life depended on it, because I was like, man, someone's actually gonna give me money to train them. What a concept. I was so passionate about it. I was so grateful for him. And I was devoted to giving him like the biggest transformation ever. And I remember just working closely with him and understanding how someone else's mind works, because with me, I have a very extreme personality. It's like all out or do nothing. So I realized with people, they're more balanced and they're not going to commit to doing 2 hours of exercise a day and eating lettuce. So I really understood his point of view and I worked with him to modify the diet, to modify his exercise. But soon after, he started getting results for the first time in his life. And that's when I knew I was onto something, because I was very empathetic, being overweight most of my life. I knew that I could just put him on a robotic diet and he was going to stick to it. I had to coach him and inspire him and really make him stick to it. But with working with him, it made me realize how much I love helping people and how much I had a skill of inspiring people into taking action.
So there's something really, really awesome about that story, which after talking with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs who are just getting started, they're like, how do I get my first client? Or how do I find that right opportunity? And what you said was something extremely powerful. Obviously, you busted your ass, you worked your ass off, but ultimately you became your own best case study. People love watching the expert do what they do best. And so many people don't showcase it. Like you still do it to this day. Like you're broadcasting like everything that you're doing. Like you're broadcasting your actual work. And that's the best way, one of the best ways that I found to attract potential clients or potential students, whatever you're selling. It's show them how you work, especially in this world of online. So many people want to hide behind a computer and just send out emails and make money. It's like, you want to do that? Like, fine. There's plenty of people out there that can show you how to do it. But like, if you're jumping into a new market or like your first client, you didn't have any testimonials, you didn't have any previous clients, but you showed up and you were putting in the work. You were showing what you're going to help other people do, and you became your own best case study. So I think that's just extremely powerful, especially for anyone who's looking to go out there and try and jump into a new market or get new clients in a different venture. It's like, become your own best case study and you'll naturally attract people that want what you've got, right?
Absolutely. That's a great point. My students, they often come to me and they want to develop an online business. And I say, the first thing you got to do is discover your target market. Who do you want to be a hero to? Who do you want to serve? And many times they're very confused. There's so many options, Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to help everyone. But of course, you can't help everyone. You got to focus on a specific target market. So I asked them a question: what pain do you want to heal in the world, right? What do you want to eradicate? Or what's something you overcame yourself? And for me, fitness, that was a very troublesome area for a big part of my life. And once I was able to master that for myself, I had this feeling of helping others with it, Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like a disconnect if you were trying to help people in an area that you've not mastered. Like you have a beautiful family and children, and I'm a single guy with no kids. But if I decided to be a coach for parents and to help them raise their kids, or I would fail miserably because I have no experience in that place, and I stay in my lane. And I think it's really just living by example, being able to live day in and day out with your principles, living in that place where you've already mastered it, you're getting better and better. And then you could take people on the same journey that you've already accomplished yourself.
And people love to go on a journey, man. And they want to be part of a journey. They want to be part of a trend. They like to go for a ride, like just mentally, that's why they invest, is like, they want to get on the roller coaster, or they want to have fun and they want to do it with people, especially in the entrepreneurship world. Like, entrepreneurs are so lonely, man. That's why live events do so well. I'm getting off topic here, but I just wanted to completely support what you said. Was like, they love to be part of the journey. And that's like deep down internally, they really want. And that's why they hire coaches. So, okay. So you were your first client. You charged nothing. Just kidding. But you were your own best case study.
Yes.
Then somebody witnessed you and they're like, hey, I want to pay you. Help me do what you did for yourself. So you helped him. His name was Joe, and he became your first paid client. And that's So what happened next? Like, how did it start to move forward from there?
Yeah, absolutely. So in a lot of the books that I read, it was mentioning the power of results-based marketing, and I realized it too. It's like a great book that I read in that first year was Robert Cialdini's Influence,
Mm-hmm.
and wow, that book changed my whole life. And he has the 6 powers of influence. And one of the biggest elements is social proof, so I knew that this guy was my first client. I'm going to chronicle his entire journey. So a whole process that I have with every client that I work with is I take a before and after photo, and I realized, some people are kind of weirded out. Let's say we discuss my rates and then we develop an investment. And the moment they pay me money, I'm like, all right, cool. Now I can take your shirt off and I can take photos of you naked, So most people, especially if they're overweight, that's like I feel weirded out by that, But however, I also really discuss, I pre-frame that this is going to be your before photo. You're never going to look like this ever again. And we're going to transform your body. And then once they say that, like, okay, cool. And they strip down, But I just remembered with him chronicling his journey and even posting it on, my social media and showing this guy's results and his success, So early on, I knew like social proof was powerful, and I do the same thing. I believe in results-based marketing, and I feel like the people that are on the top of the industry, they get phenomenal results for people, because you could have the best funnels, the best sales process, but if you're not serving at the highest level, you're going to be found out. Good marketing is going to accelerate people understanding that you're not following through on your promises, So I realized that, and from that moment on, every single person that I work with, even till this day, I'm very, very big on capturing their wins, creating a case study out of them, and just taking their own journey and chronicling it publicly.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's 100%. Like, I don't even know if it's a law of attraction, but like, just when people watch how you work, like they're naturally attracted to you. And I love the chronicling the journey, like the before and the after.
Yes.
I mean, like that is like, because that's where are they right now? Where do they want to be? Right. And that's like when you look at fitness ads, what do they show? Oh, they show ripped people, fitness ads on television, wherever. It's like, what do they show? They show, the sexy female with, in a sports bra exercising the whole 9 yards, or guys with their shirts off who are jacked like you. It's like, that's who I want to be. Right. So,
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you land your next client? Like you've got your first personal training client with Joe, right?
Yeah.
How quickly did it start to, were people just lining up after that? Like no marketing, but like what happened after that? Because you had this goal, right? Talk about your goal.
Yeah. So I had a simple goal at the time when I started my business. And I said to myself, if I were able to make $3,000 a month, then I've made it. I'm successful. I'm a business owner and I don't have to go back to work. I was teaching. And as you know, teachers are not the highest paid profession after all the taxes and all the different things. You're left with like almost nothing. So I saw my expenses and everything, $3,000 a month. That was my magic number. And I had a big goal that if I made $3,000 for my personal training business, then I was successful and I could make it as an entrepreneur. And essentially with Joe and just really giving him my heart and serving him at the highest level, he all of a sudden saw what I did for him. He was getting results for the first time in his life. And he referred me to his sister. He's like, I got a sister. She's been overweight and nothing's worked for her. I would love to bring her in. Maybe we could do a little consultation and help her out. So I said, cool, man, bring her in. And when his sister came in, I just did the same thing with him, And with women, it's even harder for them to strip down, by the way, to get them to take their clothes off. This woman was tipping close to 300 pounds, And then once they sign up, I'm like, by the way, as a part of us working together, I got to take a before photo of you, And she was like, what? She freaked out. But then, of course, I'm very persuasive. And I say, you're never going to like this ever again. Take your clothes off. Don't worry. These pictures are not going to go public. Only if I'm able to get your result. They'll just stay on my phone. You know what I mean? But she was able to strip down. We took the photo of her. And from there, same thing. I just took all the principles that I learned in my weight loss journey, losing the 60 pounds and having the empathy for people that are not genetic freaks. And with Joe's sister, quickly started getting those results. And she then referred me to someone else. And my whole business initially was built on referrals.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was like 6 weeks of just getting clients and referrals that I was able to hit my $3,000 a month goal.
Awesome, dude. Yeah. You said something that is so, so powerful. It's just make sure that you deliver your service at the highest level, because when you do that, like you have nothing to worry about in terms of marketing, because that's the ultimate form of word of mouth. And you also said something that was really, really powerful. We're connected to a lot of digital marketers, and everyone wants to build a funnel that generates them clients. Well, if you throw paid ads or paid marketing at something, it's just going to accelerate and you aren't fulfilling on your promises. It's just going to accelerate your fraudulent, or
exposed.
You're going to get exposed. Exactly. All right. So I want to start to fast forward because now that's how you started, right? There had to have been a point where you were booked solid, working one-on-one with clients. Because right now you teach people how to become an online fitness coach. So explain that journey, from when you went to physical to, to online, what was that process like?
Yeah, absolutely. So any trainer who gets results quickly finds out that it's a very rare thing for a person to get these amazing results for their clientele and to post about it and have this amazing testimonial case study library. So I started getting filled out of my hours. I was getting up at 6 a.m. And I was getting up at 5 a.m. My first client was at 6 a.m. So it was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then I had a short break in the day. And then 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. And I was working sometimes till 8, 9 o'clock at night. In the beginning, I was super passionate. I love helping people. I love transforming lives. And I started getting a solid routine of getting their nutrition, their workouts, their cardio dialed in. But then I started getting really exhausted, because in the personal training industry, you're literally trading hours for dollars. And if you do not show up for work, you don't make money. So it was this crazy, crazy hardcore schedule of getting up at 5 a.m., working till sometimes 9, 10 p.m., working in my business, then going home, emails, customer service, and billing. And for those initial 10 years of really building my business, I never went on a vacation, because you have this business where you have to be there all the time. And if you're not there, you don't make money. Essentially, if I were to go on vacation, this insecurity that if I came back, my clients would leave me, they would find someone else. I just stayed. I was there for them all the time. And that shit really burned me out, So I said, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a way of going about this. And then at the time, I had a friend who started a boot camp, and he started leveraging himself and he started doing group training. So I said, well, maybe I could do this. Maybe I could start to work with less hours throughout the day, but have more people in those hours. So then I just made a decision and, just say, you guys, I love you and I really want to help you, but I cannot sustain this work schedule. I need to take some time off. I need to take care of myself because I started to gain weight. I was getting burnt out, trading time for money. So then I just offered them working together in a group setting. So instead of working one-on-one, I said we could work out in what it was called team training, 4 to 6 people at a time. You would pay significantly less, but work with other people all around you in that hour. So instead of making, let's say $100 an hour, I was making $300 to $400 an hour because I was getting people to pay, let's say $50 for that hour. And I would have sometimes even up to 7, 8 people in this little group training class,
Yep.
I saw the power of leverage. Again, I was making more per hour, working less, but the same problem came that if I was not working, I was not making money. If I went on vacation or God forbid I got sick, I was screwed. I was not bringing any income. And this was starting to scare me because the more I was doing this, the more I was working. I even was able to get a trainer, a female, to help me out. And she was taking some of the hours as well. But then with her, sometimes she wouldn't show up or she would come in late. And, people would say, I love you, AJ. I don't want to work with her, So it was getting all these headaches with the business. And I just realized it wasn't sustainable, because if I just kind of stayed on this path, did it for another 10 years, I would end up being like an 80-year-old personal trainer, this elderly dude in the gym counting reps and just burning out his body, So I said that there's got to be a better way. And that's when I started to really understand that if I take my services online, I could leverage myself even further and develop more of an automated process. So I don't have to trade hours for dollars. I could develop a system that gives my clients results, but it could help many more people, not just locally, but internationally.
So did you just one day, literally sit back and and after multiple efforts of burnout, right? Which is what I loved about what you talked about is you maxed out on one-on-one. You basically were screw it. I can't keep doing this or I'm going to burn out. So then you're well, I'm going to do, I see this group training over here. Let me try it here. So boom, you instantly probably quadrupled your hourly rate, right? But maybe not instantly, but very quickly, tripled or quadrupled your hourly rate. Then that filled up, right? Because it seems like that you had burnout experience with that, right? So how long did it take you to go from one-on-one to group to then tinkering with online? Because that's got to be, I mean, in my mind, like, I don't know if I would ever sign up for an online personal training program, just because it's like, for me as a consumer, like, I would want somebody in there. So like, how did you discover this opportunity even existed?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's say if I started my business in like 2007, I was doing one-on-one training for about 2-3 years. And then around 2010, I started implementing the group training model, And once I started doing the group training model, I realized that, wow, these people look at me as an authority. And if I could just get them results, it doesn't matter how I get them the results. They just want the end result, So if I could create something that gets them the same results, that doesn't require my time or energy, then they'll be happy, I'll be happy, because I think there's this misconception with experts that people think that in order for them to get paid, they have to work super hard for it, put in the hours of blood, sweat, and tears, and to create this program with so much different factors and complexity. No, people just want the damn result. If you had a magic pill that would help people lose 20 pounds, they would give you $20,000 for that magic pill. They don't have to do the work for it. So I said, it's a magic pill solution. If I could create something that gets people results, that could leverage my time, my energy, and take all the best that I could do and create a dream come true process, then it's a win for them and it's a win for me. And I didn't know what the hell I was doing, especially being this trainer for so many years. I only knew the physical body, and I really didn't feel like I'd value on the internet. So I hired a coach. His name was Chris McCombs at the time. He doesn't coach anymore, but he was a master at fitness marketing and really understanding the online game. And I remember even hiring him, I was kind of scared, because I never hired a coach before. And at the time, he was charging $5,000. And I was like, man, this is scary. This guy wants $5,000, and I don't even know what he's going to do. I'm never going to meet the guy. I'm just literally putting my credit card on his online shopping cart. It was the scariest thing I ever did, but I knew that in order for people to take the risk in me, I had to take a risk in him. You know what I mean? How am I going to ask people to pay me money off the internet if I can't pay this online coach? So I just put the money on the credit card and I said, man, I'm throwing a Hail Mary here, because if I pay this guy $5,000 and I lose my money, I look like an idiot, So whatever he says, I'm going to do. And I just remember we had our first coaching call and I just wrote all this stuff. I wrote this huge email, I'm an analytical person. So here's what I want to do. Here's my goals. Here's my problems, and these are my strategies. And he just got on the call and said, AJ, man, you're a smart dude, but you're too smart for your own good. What I want you to do is forget all this stuff that you know and just focus on these 3 things for the next week. Do these 3 things and then hit me back once they're done. And I was like, holy shit, that's it? That's all I have to do? Hell yeah, I'm going to do it. I went balls to the wall, did those 3 things. And very quickly, week by week by week, things started gaining traction. And I literally started to make $1,000, $2,000. And then within a month's time, I made that $5,000 back with the stuff that he taught me. And then I realized like, wow, I could have been hitting my head against the wall for year after year, not knowing how to do this. I hired this coach, and in a short amount of time, I learned all of his strategies, all of his years of experience of being online, and I started to build my online business, and that's when I realized the power of investing in yourself, and that's, I think, one of the biggest mistakes that I made when I started my business. I waited so long to hire a coach. Now when I tell people it is, hey, how do I grow a business? Where to get started? I'm like, the best thing to do is to hire a coach, join a mastermind, get someone who's already doing what you did, and it'll accelerate your process as opposed to you trying to figure it out yourself.
So, God, there's like 4 critical golden nuggets that I want to extract and pull them out just so everyone can like understand what you said. Like, and this is way easier said than done. Like, I think probably when you went from group to online, like that's probably when like the ultimate leverage happened, right? And you said something that's like, people don't care about the how, meaning like they don't care about the grunt work. Like if you can get them a result, like that's what they're paying for. And one of my mentors, he calls this the mule versus the magician, right? Like, how are you going to sell yourself? Like, if you buy, his name is Kevin Nations, but he's like, if you can sell yourself as the mule, but then everyone's going to expect you to show up every single day, and you have to be doing the work. Versus if you position yourself as the magician, like, hey, if I waved a magic wand and the result just appeared, like, I mean, that's what people want. And I'm not doing it justice of explaining it, but like what your whole process explained what the mule versus the magician was. And so like, so
it's kind of like if someone is having issues with their marriage, and there's 2 marriage counselors, And one marriage counselor says, well, this is going to take 6 months of work and you have to do a lot of therapy and you have to do a lot of different exercises and you have to, really work on this super hard. It's going to take 4 or 5 hours a day, but we're going to get to this goal in 6 months. And the other marriage therapist says, come to me in one session, I will fix your marriage. You walk out within the hour and you'll have the most amazing, loving, beautiful marriage. What would you rather take?
Yep.
Everyone wants an instant solution. So if you could obviously create something that's instant or develop faster results with less work and less time, most people would rather take that.
Yeah, 100%, man. And that's where the real work comes in, is how do you as the expert develop that instant solution? And that takes time and practice and honing of your own skill. So, and the other thing that I wanted to point out was, especially as experts, like if you want to be charging a good ticket for yourself, like you better have invested in yourself so you can understand like what value truly is. Like if you're afraid to invest $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, whatever it is, but you want to be charging that, like, I mean, there's going to be a lot of incongruency there. It's like you need to be able to have faith in, investing in a lot in yourself if you want to provide that same type of transformation for other people as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing I learned myself, in terms of hiring different coaches and joining masterminds. I realized like every time I hired someone, let's say with Chris, I paid him $5,000. Then I had the alignment to charge someone else $5,000. Shortly after that, I joined this mastermind. It's called the 25K group. It's a $25,000 investment. The moment I paid $25,000 to be in this mastermind, this networking group, then I could charge $25K for my own program, because you're literally a mirror of your actions. If you invest in yourself and you're an action taker and you're so coachable, you're a pleasure to work with, you're going to attract those same people, But if you're just really rigid and structured and you don't commit, you don't invest, well, you're going to start to attract people that are totally aligned to who you are as a person.
I call that like the lily pad effect. I haven't coined this anything, but like every single time that I talk to an expert and they go through a similar story, it's like, you're able to attract a new audience once you have accomplished something. It's like being 1 or 2 steps ahead of who you're trying to train. And the same thing is like with investing, exactly what you said. Once I've invested $5K, now I understand value perception and how to be able to charge $5K. Meaning like I know what I need to provide in order for my audience to, pay me $5,000. As soon as I paid somebody else $25,000, I'm like, okay, how do I understand this value perception? Now I can charge, now I can build something and charge accordingly. And it's like, I'm going to call it the lily pad or the leapfrog effect. I don't know, but just being 1 or 2 steps ahead of your audience.
Great market. Yeah. Sounds great.
Yeah. I love it, man. So, all right. So I want to wrap this up because I want to be cognizant of your time. The last question that I want to ask you is like, you got inducted into, what was it called? The Personal Trainer Hall of Fame?
Yes. Personal Trainer Hall of Fame.
What do you think the single biggest thing was that allowed you to get inducted? Like, obviously there's probably tens of thousands of personal trainers out there, right? As experts, like we want to be the best. We want to help other people. That's like the one thing that that connects every single expert, right? But that's such a powerful award and recognition, especially being at the top of your game. If you could pinpoint one thing, like why do you think they chose you? Why do you think you got inducted?
That's a great question. I thought about that because let's say internationally, there's like hundreds of thousands of personal trainers, people that have been doing it for far longer than me. Why did I get picked? Why did I even get nominated? It's such an honor of mine. And I thought about it very deeply. And I had this concept in my business called discovering your superpower. The name of the company is Online Supercoach. And I always say that once you discover your superpower, you want to go all in and become a master at that one skill. If you look at all the greats in the world, the Warren Buffetts, the Bill Gates, Michael Jordans, they have a superpower and they put all their time and energy mastering that skill. And they outsource, delegate, or even eliminate everything that's outside of that. So they can focus on that core skill and day in and day out, put all their energy into it. So early on as a personal trainer, I quickly found out that I was able to inspire people into taking action, to get off their ass, do their cardio, follow their nutrition, do their workouts. I had this way of really tapping into a person's heart, making them get the energy, the focus, the accountability to make stuff happen. Now that skill of inspiring people into action, I was able to take that into my online business, into business coaching. I do seminars here in my house. People come in here and I'm able to get them to take massive action by the time they leave and go back home. So I realized that if I just go all out and really developing the skill of inspiring people into action, that I could go into any industry, any career, and I'll be good at it, you know? So I think understanding that early on and going all in, learning how to get people to take action, that allowed me to get the great honor of being in the PT Hall of Fame.
That's amazing, man. I mean, and it's so, for anyone listening right now, it might just sound so simple. Oh, you got people to take action. But it's like, I could probably pinpoint another reason, like the main reason, maybe not the main reason, but like they probably go hand in hand. You have obviously been very, very successful with getting people to take action. But from just listening to our conversation for the past 45 minutes, you have also mastered the power of leverage, which is not easy to do. Like you've leveraged every single step of the way. And because being able to go from one-on-one to group, I've done it personally. It wasn't easy. And like, I had my own issues with group coaching, and it's like, and it's not easy to do. And that's all bricks and mortar. So you're doing that in person, right? You were then able to take that, which is you take personal training, which is a very personal, like high, you would think this is the real value. You would think it has to be high personal, like, you know, work with you all the time. Yeah. And then you went to online group coaching, infinite scalability. Like that's powerful, man. So, I mean, being able to get those people, you know, to take action with infinite scalability. I mean, like in my mind, that's why I view you as being super, super successful. And that is not easy to do. So, anyway.
It means a lot. Thanks a lot, Joel. I appreciate that.
Dude. So, we've had an awesome conversation, right? We went from, you know, where you've been in 2007, you made your pivot point to be like, I want to pursue entrepreneurship. You had a couple of, you know, failed ventures with, you know, ebooks and info marketing, right? Just kind of dabbling. And then you discovered you had a passion for personal training. You went into your immediate network first to grab your first clients. And then that snowballed because you got them the absolute best results possible. You became a master at your craft every step of the way. So that went from one-on-one to group to online to becoming inducted into the Personal Training Hall of Fame. So AJ, man, you are a true expert. Like this is
thank you.
Quite possibly one of my favorite interviews that we've done over the course of 2 of my podcasts now. Where can people connect with you? Like how can they reach out? How can they connect and get in touch with you?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for that. That made my day. You know, working hard and getting acknowledged by it. I really appreciate that. And I want to acknowledge you as well, man. I really respect what you do. You're a great friend, and you're like super successful, but very humble, right? You're a family man. You're a father. You got a great heart. But for the amount of success you have and the people that you change, you have this amazing humility about you. And that's why we connect so well. And this was a phenomenal interview. You know, you asked me some great questions. You dug down deep. So thank you for that. How to get in contact with me, it's super simple. My website, onlinesupercoach.com. On there, I have my books, my courses, my trainings, and most importantly, my live events. You know, you mentioned the power of live events, and I do a series of seminars every few months, post them here at my house in New York, and I have a place in New York City that I hold the bigger ones at. And if you're in town, I'd love to see you, give you a hug, and inspire you into action.
Appreciate it, man. So go check out AJ, go follow him, connect with him with everything that he's doing. He's also doing other things with, you know, you're helping people become best-selling authors too, right? I mean, so you've ventured out into other, I mean, you just hit the ground running, you go full throttle 100%. So will do, man. Next time I'm in New York, I'll be sure to reach out to you, but
we'll hang out. Man. Yeah, man.
Appreciate you and everything that you've done. And everyone who's listening right now, go check him out. Go hit up AJ. Go follow him. And thanks for tuning in. I had a blast, and I hope you enjoyed this. And make sure you stay tuned for the next episode of Experts Unleashed. Take care.
Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we look forward to giving you the next one. Now, if you want additional trainings and content outside of the podcast, I release exclusive video trainings on my Experts Unleashed YouTube channel. And if you'd like to come hang out with thousands of other fellow experts, join our Facebook group community where we do hangouts and webinars to help support you in your journey. Finally, if you'd like my personal help to develop, launch, or scale your business, contact me directly for private consulting opportunities to see if any spots are available. And you can find all of the information above at expertsunleashed.com.